Welcome back. So today we have another letter from Miss Sarah Paulsen. I know I have other content that I'm still working on and getting to, but these letters are pretty quick to get out and they're fun, so why not? This is just a continuation into the divorce court case, civil court saga of just chaotic letters and motions that aren't motions, but more chaotic ramblings that she passes as motions. But regardless, I have committed myself to reading all of these letters. It is my community service for the holidays, and I will be seeing if I can get a tax write-off for this. So I like the format that we did last time, where I'm just going to read the letter out first, and then do a line-by-line breakdown after that. So if you're just here for the letter, there's the letter, and if you're here for the breakdown, there'll be the breakdown. And I still haven't found the full PDF to this. So again, I took some screenshots and compiled them together. So these screenshots came from Mo in the Deep End, just like last time. Still an amazing channel. Shocker, things haven't changed in a few weeks. So go check her out after this. Leave some crowns in the comments below so she knows where you came from. I'm also going to try a new thing and see if I can make this a shorter video by my standards, so it'll still be pretty long, but on the shorter end so that it's not too overwhelming and is manageable for more people to enjoy. So we'll see how it goes. It's just covering one letter. A few little disclaimers. You know, these are all my opinions. I'm claiming no authority here. You take what you take, you leave what you leave, but if you do leave, just leave a like on your way out. That's just good home training. Aside from that, I do call her Sarah Catherine Paulsen.
He's escaping! The killer is escaping! Help me!
Because that is her name. And after this letter specifically, you will know why I will continue to call her Sarah Catherine Paulsen. She does not deserve the Boone name or to keep trashing and ruining its reputation. Moreover, when referring to Jorge Torres, I will be calling him George because that was his preference. And I've seen this floating around. No, Sarah did not force him to go by the George pronunciation. That was his choice. That's not that uncommon. I have seen other people use the English pronunciation of Jorge. So it's just a preference.
You go by Junior, you go by George?
George.
Is it George or is it Jorge?
Jorge.
Jorge. All right.
George.
Hey man, I'll call you by your name. Well, you want George? Okay, I'll call you George.
I am actively trying to show respect to George by calling him by the name he prefers to be called by, and I'm showing active disrespect to Miss Paulsen by calling her a name she does not want to be referred to as. She also doesn't want to be called a murderer, but that's exactly who Sarah Catherine Paulsen is. And with all that said, let's jump right into it. September 9th, 2022. Judge Dean, forgive me in advance. I am inadvertently lagging in the progress and updates of my case and need your assistance to help please provide clarification and explanation for multiple legitimate concerns I have that are hindering my rights to be included in my case fully, honestly, and correctly. This past Friday, September 9th, 2022, I received a copy of the order of the Case Management Conference for September 19th, 2022. At 3:30, the order was done and ordered on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. The copy of the order was postmarked Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Why was I not mailed this the same day it was signed? Why were only former husband and his attorney in receipt? Why was I finally mailed a copy 2 weeks after completion? Would I have received last month? I could have had ample time to prepare and make arrangements to respond sooner. How is this acceptable, Your Honor? Why am I not being included on and in everything the same time everyone else is? I am either not at all mailed pertinent information and updates, it's sent to the wrong person, or I'm receiving last minute, being made to scramble with the ongoing fear and threat of not being involved, and is not by choice either. Do you all not understand, remember, or care that I am the other party, the respondent in this case? The way I am being treated by all other parties is wrong, unjust, and seems unlawful, giving the appearance I don't care due to lack of responses and the extended length of time I take when I do from not receiving my needed documents to respond accordingly. Now, I have only 5 days from receiving my copy on my end, which includes the time it takes for you to even receive this letter, to prayerfully grant permission to me so I can be included at this case management conference in my case next Monday. I do not have a legal representative or steward to also be included at this conference on my behalf, making my efforts and attempts more desperate and my want more ferocious. Judge Dean, please understand. Please see my determination and the never ending hurdles continuously being pushed in front of me or thrown where I keep having to learn how to jump higher and higher and higher. Just know, with my heartfelt will, my honorable cause, and unbridled love for my son and my rights to be his mother, to be able to make competent, important, and valued decisions in his life, I am going to learn how to fly over the hurdles in this case, my other case, and in my battle with cancer. And in my battle with cancer and any other health issue I'm dealing with. Fly. Fly. No, no, no. And any other health issue I'm dealing with. Fly. I'm not going to jump anymore. It's my right to be heard, seen, and respected as the person and mother I am. It is not right in any way for me to be ignored, bypassed, and automatically overruled because I am poor with no family or support system. I am not mute. I am not mentally, for fuck's sake, or impaired. I am a loving, determined mother, friend, teacher, supporter. I am also an ex wife. That ex husband needs to conclude will always be in our son's life and his, and come to an acceptance of the situation, which nonetheless is temporary, here, there, wherever, now, then, future. Former husband is going to have to respectfully deal with me one way or another. We have a child together. The sooner he comes to terms with all of this as I have, the sooner the beginning of his hard sought after relief can start. He and whomever else also needs to remember crystal balls are a novelty. I am doing everything in every way to stay afloat and still be a part of everything involving my son's life and mine. In the meantime, I have been providing relief to former husband in numerous ways on a daily basis. Nothing was as difficult or tumultuous until he decided to devise his scheming, manipulative plans and agreements. No one would know this because no one is giving me a chance to be part of anything. Although the playing field is completely uneven and the odds are stacked so high against me, I can't see the top. And I have nothing. I'm going to fly. With that said, and unfortunately at the last minute, now that you have received and read this with only a couple of days remaining before the conference, I want and am entitled to be in attendance, however necessary, so I am rightfully updated, present, and most importantly, included for preparation of the upcoming hurdles futuristically. What needs to be done so I can be there Monday, September 19th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. Courtroom 9B, Orange County Courthouse 425 North Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida 32801 for the 30-minute allotted time given. Transport order? Video setup? Telephonic appearance must be court ordered per instructions on the copy of order setting the hearing. How? It is not right if I am unable to attend this due to last minute attempted arrangements being made for me to do so. Would I have received the information when everyone else did 2 weeks ago? Timely plans could have been made and scheduled just as the order was on August 22nd, 2022. Today, September 9th, 2022, and finally, for whatever reason, I am just now aware is scheduled. Please instruct me what I may need to do so I can cooperate and greatly increase my opportunity to be there. How can I validate and educate when no one listens, cares, or is in front of me? I thank you as always for your invaluable time, consideration, and much needed overdue assistance. Who else is there? Honorable Dean. I am also still waiting for your response from my most recent letter sent to you on August 17th, 2022, regarding another order, dispensing mediation, I never received and was only made aware was generated by my 11-year-old son reading to me due to being sent to his address. Please provide an update for that as well. Also, on the order for the conference I am graciously requesting to be included and a part of, on page 2 of 2, where all parties were sent a true and correct copy, my address is incorrect. Please change so no other penalty, mistake, or reasons are made to be used against me in whatever way it seems everyone, especially former husband, is hoping will be my demise. Again, thank you, Judge Dean. I look forward to meeting you. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. So yeah, that was another letter from Miss Paulsen. Very on par for the course. Very irrelevant, very just rude in every single way possible. I wonder if she just like gives herself a pat on the back when she's finished. She says, "My masterpiece is complete. I am the Beethoven of the prison carrying gaslighting sonata." And she's really proud of it. She thinks she has composed a symphony, and it really is just a disaster. Yet I just could never imagine talking to someone of authority or power in this kind of fashion. Nonetheless, talking to them and asking them to do something for you and still behaving in this way. It's also just wild to me that I think she thinks Judge Dean is a marriage counselor, because 90% of this is completely irrelevant. This could have been a sentence. Can I be in attendance at this next case management hearing? Thank you. That's it. That was the thesis statement of all this. But yet, no, we hear her entire background, every grievance she has with Brian, every little thing she can possibly think of. And I know it's because she doesn't have any other outlet, so she just wants to get it all out there any way she can. But she can't actually expect things to work out for her when you act and write and behave this way. And she does expect it, though. She's genuinely shocked when it backfires every single time. But okay, now we're going to move into the line-by-line breakdown. September 9th, 2022. Judge Dean, forgive me in advance. I am inadvertently lagging in the progress and updates of my case and need your assistance to help please provide clarification and explanation for multiple legitimate concerns I have that are hindering my rights to be included in my case fully, honestly, and correctly. She really knows how to pack a lot in a little bit. Just just so much in one sentence, just so much. And I think it was just one sentence. It's just a run-on sentence that takes up 4 or 5 lines. That's wild. Or maybe it's 2 sentences. First observation, she's writing over the margins again completely. It's just like a weird thing, right? It just feels slightly off-kiltered, unhinged, seeing that big old line down the center. And we've talked about it in previous videos, but there are some graphology and handwriting theories that suggest that people who write outside the margins are more likely to be comfortable pushing societal boundaries. I know it's like a little thing and expanding it to a big thing, but it does actually make sense when you just think about it. All of these boundaries are social constructs anyway, so are the margins on that paper. We have just made a societal contract that we know what that margin line means. She knows what it means. Completely disregarding it and saying, I need to take up the entire thing because you will hear me. You will hear every single word. Whatever, that's neither here nor there. That's not a big deal. It's just a thing. First opening line, forgive me in advance. When you are asking for forgiveness up front, that just says to me, buckle up, because I know I'm about to be a lot. And it's not even asking a question of like, I hope you'll forgive me, or will you forgive me for this, or something like that. You don't need to ask that question, but it's a declarative statement. Forgive me in advance. And she lives up to that request throughout the rest of this open letter. I still don't think she quite understands the role and purpose of a judge, but she thinks she can just tell the judge to clarify and explain further detail every single one of my multiple legitimate concerns. Have to make sure you put that qualifier. They're not just concerns, they're legitimate concerns. How do you know? Because I told you they were. And because they are legitimate concerns, that means you must reply. Why am I framing it that way? Because you haven't replied to me. Why? Because this is not the proper protocol. You've told me every single letter. I will not listen. I refuse to. So I'm going to tell you again, and I'm going to try to rephrase it and try to guilt trip you and try to play at your ethics or your morals and say, you need to provide an explanation to my multiple legitimate concerns because they're hindering my rights to be fully included, honestly, fully, and correctly. What is the implication? The implication is that I'm not being included fully, that this is all dishonest, and it is being done incorrectly. And I get that is the sentiment that she wants to get across, but it's written in this cheeky kind of passive-aggressive manner. And I know it sounds like that I might be picking too many things apart or focusing a little bit or like whatever. Isolated these certain sentences and phrases are harmless on their own, but because we know who Sarah is now, or a clearer vision of who she is, and that she is nothing like how she portrays or who she tells us she is, we can trace all of these behaviors and we can kind of infer and put together what she's actually saying through this. It's pretty obvious, but for the people who really want to defend her and say, give her the benefit of the doubt, that's long gone. She lost my benefit of the doubt when she said, he told me tag you're it, and so I went upstairs and hid. That's when I was like, oh, okay, none of this makes sense. No, it was before then. It was way before then. The 911 call is when I was like, yeah, you killed him. Okay. And you just told us. Within the first 2 minutes, you spilled everything.
All right, great. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case and we were playing. And
Okay.
like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay. So he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Even the 911 operator could tell that it was a lie. But that's neither here nor there. It is just to say that she tells tales all day, every day. And the words that she says and the way that she phrases it and says it makes it very clear. And obviously she didn't say any of the things that are written on here, and I'm just giving voice to it. But I don't think I'm that far off from how she thought about it when she wrote it. Okay, plane. I was just trying to get the sentence. I was going to let you finish, but it's okay. When you need to be heard, you need to be heard. But like I said, I don't think I'm that far off from how she was thinking it when she wrote it, but I could be wrong, and I'm okay with that. Moving on. This past Friday, September 9th, 2022, I received a copy of the order of the case management conference for September 19th, 2022 at 3:30. The order was done and ordered on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. The copy of the order was postmarked Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Why was I not mailed this the same day it was signed? Because you're in jail, okay? That's going to be the answer for most of this. The reason you aren't getting the mail as quickly as everyone else is because you're in jail. And you know this. You just believe because you are you that it is the expectation that they put your mail first. There's a reason why it takes forever for you to get anything. And you know this from criminal court. All of your mail goes through a process. You're also not the only inmate in a whole jail. You share a bunk with what, 63, 62 other inmates? All of them get mail too, from different various court systems and various places. They all go through the same mail filtration system. They got to make sure the macaroni art card made by little Timmy is held together with Elmer's glue and not that nose glue, if you know what I mean. But really, no. What do you think I mean? I don't know what I mean. It just sounds like it should fit. But tell me down below what you think that nose glue is. How late do you think it is? Also, tell me what you think nose glue is, and tell me what time you think it is when I was recording this. Anyway, they have to go through things. You don't have free access to this. Brian can go pick it up if they're not going to, but that's how simple it could be. He has access to mail in ways that you don't. That's why whenever you write these manifestos, it takes the clerks days to weeks to upload them online because there's a process to things. You are waiting in line. You can't conceptualize that, right? You can only see your own life, your own circumstances, so that's why this is such an issue for you. But it's not something that's malicious or tailored against you, but you will take it very personally, as though it is their job to fix that system for you. If there is something that is extremely important that you need to know, they will get that to you. If it is regarding just standard processes in a regular case, you are getting the mail when you get the mail. You are also telling us right now that you are getting this notification days in advance before the hearing. It may not be as advanced of a notice as you would like, but you are having several days. It's not like they woke you up the day before and said, hey, you have a hearing in the morning. We know they've done that to you in criminal court, so this is different. You are being made aware, and this has reached you within an appropriate amount of time. Why were only former husband and his attorney in receipt? Because you're in jail, okay? Why was I finally mailed a copy 2 weeks after completion? Because you're in jail, okay? Would I have received last month? I could have had ample time to prepare in jail and make arrangements to respond sooner. Okay. How is this acceptable, Your Honor? Why am I not being included on and in everything the same time everyone else is? Because you're in jail. I am either not at all mailed pertinent information and updates, it's sent to the wrong person, or I'm receiving last minute, being made to scramble with the ongoing fear and threat of not being involved, and is not by choice either. I know I've been poking at it, but that's the answer. You're in jail. It's like you don't quite connect those wires of why things would be different, why it would be mailed to the wrong and different address. This is civil court, not criminal court. It doesn't all just automatically reset your address everywhere else. It kind of has to be changed. If you notice something is incorrect, you ask for it to be corrected. Otherwise, it's going to be sent to the same address that's on file. But she's revealed what she's getting at. It's this threat of fear and threat of not being included on and in everything at the same time everyone else is. Because you're in jail, okay, you no longer have that privilege. If you did, you could be there in person, but you can't. Why? Because the pink cuffs say no. And this is based off of your actions. You put yourself in this predicament and now are trying to make it everyone else's problem. Do you all not understand, remember, or care that I am the other party, the respondent in this case? The way I am being treated by all other parties is wrong, unjust, and seems unlawful, giving the appearance I don't care due to lack of responses and the extended length of time I take when I do, from not receiving my needed documents to respond accordingly. Like I always say, she just packs so much and so little. Do you not understand? Do you not care or realize I am the other party? Yes, we do. Why? Because your loud mouth never shuts up. But also because we know how to do our jobs, right? Yes, everyone knows who you are. You are the respondent and not the petitioner. This is family court, a part of civil court. You don't have plaintiffs and defendants. You have petitioners and respondents. So the petitioner plaintiff is Brian and the defendant respondent is Sarah. And she always just wants people to care for her as though that is a legal right that someone has to care for you. No, they don't. They have to provide you with the documents and things that you need, but they don't have to care for you. These type of documents, motions, letters, and things you do need, and they have been sent to you. They're just not sent to you as quickly as you would like, or not as quickly as other people receive them. But these other quote-unquote documents that you need, you'll just make up stuff. You'll make up stuff because you get mad, and then you'll request things, and you want people to bend over backwards to get you things that may or may not even exist. I remember when Law Daddy Scott Chevlinel handed her ass in that one hearing and told her that she was asking for the world and for this and for that. She was like, well, what is the guidebook for a pro se defendant so I can adequately prepare myself and have a successful outcome?
You know, she's gone through, I think, 8 attorneys in this case. And she had several attorneys appointed to her case, and she's kind of put herself in this position today. And the case law is not real favorable to folks that put themselves in that position.
So my understanding is that I'm being penalized by Orange County Corrections Department because of their misunderstanding in regards to my, in quotes, 8 attorneys prior. Is that why I'm unable to have anything in order for myself to properly represent myself as a pro se defendant and inmate of the Orange County Corrections Department?
I'm not going to answer that
question. Not being penalized, just the opposite. She's being treated like every other pro se inmate in the institution. She's not being penalized at all. She wants consideration over and above what everybody else has.
Oh my gosh, sir. Okay, fine. I'm on Tiffany's website right now. I'm looking for engagement rings on Tiffany. Will that be enough for you? Because, wow, you are finally saying what we all have been saying.
If I may please, what is over and above? What other pro se inmates, what is it that they've asked for? I don't see how they could successfully even represent themselves without internet and a regular working phone. And I'm pretty sure that they were not able to complete their case and the successful outcome that they were hoping for by being provided simply papers and pens.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the 2nd degree.
Do you have anything in writing as a hard copy? I was just asking if the Orange County Corrections Department had any type of guideline that you are accusing me of going above and beyond, other than the pen and paper. So I didn't know if you had a policy or process in, if you have a pro se packet, like JAC has a pro se packet. Does Orange County provide something like that?
You'd have to ask the jail that question. I don't know. I advise from a legal standpoint, and I can certainly tell the jail what the legal standard is. I'm not going to advise you as to what the law is.
And she just wouldn't let it go. A few of those clips were almost half an hour apart because she kept going back. She couldn't handle that he caught her face as it was falling to the floor and handed it back to her. So she had to go back again. Do you have a hard copy? Where's the guide this? I need documentation that so I can do this appropriately, that appropriately. And this is the same thing. I can only do what you want me to do when you do what I want you to do, so I can tell you you're not doing what I want you to do so you can do what I want you to do, and then tell me that I did what you wanted to do because you had the gracious honor of doing what I wanted you to do. And it's that circular logic that spins round and round in her head all day. And she also did this in a prior letter that we've covered, the one where she wrote to Brian's attorney because he wanted to schedule the case management conference and she didn't want to pick a date because she said, how am I supposed to know? I didn't even know this was a requirement to schedule one. Can you give me that documentation? Can you give me all these other documents, the marriage certificate, the proposal? Who is this new mediator person? She was just pulling out all of these documents out of her ass that she's not entitled to and may or may not exist.
What are the requirements under Florida law stating a mediation needs to be scheduled for the petition to modify? Please provide documentation so I can understand the practices, procedures, and protocol for this area of family law and can abide accordingly. Please provide copies of all documents to be discussed, which includes original marriage paperwork, pre-modifications to see and compare specifically what is being requested to be modified. Please send contact information, location, and credentials of the selected mediator.
And she asks for all of that just to be able to pick a date to have this case management conference. And so it's just condescending and extremely uncooperative and needlessly confrontational over just asking for her to schedule dates. But now she is saying she doesn't get her much needed documents in order to respond quickly. And let's back that up a little bit. She says this is wrong, unjust, and seems unlawful. Meaning she knows it's not unlawful, but it just seems unlawful. Why am I saying that? So I can poke at you, judge, because you are a judge, someone who is supposed to uphold the law neutrally. That is your job. I'm saying you are not doing your job. Even though that doesn't apply to what I'm actually saying, I'm throwing that in there just to show you, like to provoke you. And this is just a small little smidget of how she does this to people. I imagine she did this constantly, having these little micro needling digs at people that don't mean anything on the surface, but when you put them in the context of who she is saying them to and how, it just builds and builds and builds to just being like, you're just effing rude at this point. And it seems unlawful. Why? Because it's giving the appearance that she doesn't care. Something is subjective, right? She's assuming that it is being assumed that she doesn't care because of the length of time it takes for her to respond. And she's saying that because in that letter, when the case management conference was canceled, they said it was canceled because she was being uncooperative and difficult, which she was for the aforementioned reasons. And she is taking that to say, they said I was that because of the length and time it took me to decide. They're like, no, it's because you would not sign or provide any dates. You would not cooperate whatsoever. Even if the dates had to be changed, you didn't offer up any. That was being uncooperative. You wanted them to do this, that gets you these, those. And that takes time. So then she turns that uncooperative reputation as a weapon to use in another letter. She's basically saying, you all are the reason that you think I'm difficult because you all aren't doing what I say. If you gave me everything that I said I wanted and needed, even if it doesn't exist and I'm pulling it out of my ass, out of thin air, then you wouldn't have the opinion you would of me. And we would all be happy. Why? Because you would see me how I want you to see me, and I would still get what I want. Which is just this never-ending contradiction of she wants everything quickly at the same time. She won't give anyone anything. And she does and requests things that only extend time and draw things out longer and longer, which ultimately is her end game. I say she's stupid, but she's not dumb, right? Stupid being short-term, dumb being in general. She makes so many stupid decisions, but she's not dumb in the sense of she is aware of her actions, her manipulative tactics, and how she wants things to go. She can see she's not going to get what she wants while she's in jail. So she wants to elongate everything, extend time as long as it takes to where she could, in her ideal world, get off with murder, get on the outside, and then get what she wants.
Find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree.
So nothing will ever be good enough. Whatever you provide for her won't get there in time. Whatever you don't provide for her will be the specific reason why she will still remain uncooperative.
Now, I have only 5 days from receiving my copy on my end, which includes the time it takes for you to even receive this letter, to prayerfully grant permission to me so I can be included at this case management conference in my case next Monday. I do not have a legal representative or steward to also be included at this conference on my behalf, making my efforts and attempts more desperate and my want more ferocious.
I mean, yeah, it is giving desperate and ferocious. I think those are two very good descriptors of every letter you write. And that's a trait and pattern that she may not be aware of, but is very disclosing of what actually goes on in her life. It is clear that she is the person who cries wolf more than any human I've ever seen. Everything is the most dramatic, over-the-top inconvenience, which is why she has a terrible life and everything bad happens to her. Any little thing is the reason her life is horrible. It doesn't matter if it's Brian not wanting to pay alimony or if it's Brian and their son collaborating against you to lie about sending you some Valentine's Day card. One thing she is going to do, she is going to turn to that judge and scream,
He's escaping! The killer is escaping! Help me!
because she was deceived and it was so rude and it was, how could you possibly do this to someone?
Hey, February 14th, 2023, Valentine's Day card. Former husband collaborated with my 12-year-old son to lie to me about making me a card. I was told my son wrote me a letter and drew something nice for me. I was really going to like it. It was all a lie. They never went or did any of it. What an awful, unnecessary lie. For no reason. Nonetheless, former husband had my son part of the awful lie. How disgusting and hurtful. No card ever.
So, of course, every want and desire is as desperate as possible so it can justify her natural, ferocious, biting back behavior. I'm not mean, I'm not spiteful, I'm not rude, I'm just desperate and trying to be a mother. And the request on its own is not that bad. Can I be at the case management conference? You have every right to be there. Odds are, I don't know why you wouldn't be there, is my thing. If you're getting legal mail at the jail that says that you have a conference scheduled, I believe they have to take you there. I don't think they can stop you from going there or being there. But maybe there are hurdles I'm not aware of. And if that is the case, I understand this request. However, the way it's delivered, again, is just a no on every level.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life, too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you. Don't you think I ever wanted other things? Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? Don't you think I ever crossed...
And now you only have 5 days left. How long do you need? Maybe I'm just really unaware of some things, but I know your schedule is clear. So it's not like you're that busy for 5 days on a Monday that you wouldn't have the capabilities of being there. And you have mentioned it before, is video conference available? Odds are, in this post-quarantine world, yes, that is available. And yes, you could probably easily get access to this. So it's just elevating this very simple request to one of the most horrible things that it could ever happen to someone, and a terrible injustice that must be reprimanded and acknowledged for the act against human rights that it is. This is a war crime.
Judge Dean, please understand. Please see my determination and the never-ending hurdles continuously being pushed in front of me or thrown where I keep having to learn how to jump higher and higher and higher. Just know, with my heartfelt will, my honorable cause, and unbridled love for my son and my rights to be his mother.
And of course, she couldn't go too long without bringing the son in to make herself look better. It's because she knows that she's sounded extremely irrational and just rude, so she has to bring back up something that is supposed to make her look good. I'm a mother, and this is all for my son. All the things that I'm selfishly asking for, me, are because I'm a mother who loves her son. Because she was building up to that, right? She has a heartfelt will. She hasn't shown that, but she says she has it, so we have to believe her. An honorable cause, which it could be a good cause, but it's no longer honorable when you present it in this manner. You kind of strip the honor from that. It is a cause that you feel that you need to express, that's fine, but not in this manner. And your unbridled love for your son. See, that's the apex of all of this. I'm doing all of this, my determination, because of these never-ending hurdles. Can you believe, Judge, I received mail 5 days before case management conference. 5 days. I still received the information I'm entitled to, and it was postmarked on September 7th, and I received it 2 days after it was sent out. However, it took them too long to get to that point because I'm the only person who exists. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have sent this on the day it was ordered. And also, the day it was ordered and sent to Brian does not mean he received it on that day. It does mean he received it before you, but still, it's not like everyone was informed about absolutely everything on that one day. Unless you both were present and then you both were informed about it. She also does this too. She went back and forth with Kranick about, I didn't know this was supposed to happen when they had the media motion after she begged for the cameras to be left out of view and the physical evidence. She went back and forth. Why does the media have to be here? Why does the media have to be here? They have a whole motion for it. And the whole time she says, why didn't anyone tell me we were going to be talking about the media? And he's like, I told you face to face less than a week ago. And you said you understood. But why didn't I get a copy? Why didn't anyone get a copy? I can't be prepared without my copy.
The balance of the things that I'm speaking about were mailed to you at the legal mail address on August 9th.
Which I have yet to receive.
Okay.
Judge,
Mr. J. Yes, ma'am.
forgive me. When you stated to the court that my motion was oral, was this during the last hearing that we had?
You requested this both, ma'am, on August 5 and on August 9.
What was it specifically that I requested?
You had requested privacy with regard to the September 3rd hearing. And I advised you that I needed to look at the law on it. And you asked again on September 9th when we were going to address it. I said that we would address it on the 14th. You asked for copies of the law, and those were mailed to you on the 9th.
Which I have yet to receive. And I was not aware of, I was not instructed by anyone in the court, including yourself, that that was an oral motion. If I needed to actually do a proper motion, I would have correctly done so.
That's why we had the hearing, ma'am, because you asked for it orally. So you orally moved or attendantly moved to have that motion heard. And we set it up for today, since we already had the hearing time carved out, to address you receiving the hard copies, which seemingly has already been remedied. And last week when we had our hearing on the 9th, I said I don't want to lose that hearing time because we already had it carved out. So we would proceed with the hearing on the privacy issue at that point in time. You then asked for the case law. I said, absolutely, I will get it to you. Mr. J had advised that he was familiar with the case law. But regardless, it was provided to all parties and mailed to you on the 9th.
Which I have yet to receive, and I was not instructed by anyone in the court that that was an oral motion for me requesting privacy. I thought it was just a comment that I could have on record.
See, and that's the biggest issue in all of this. She thinks she's still just making comments. Everything she says is official. I mean, all you did is tell it to my face. You think I'm supposed to pay attention to you? No. Where's my hard copy? And so the issue is rarely that she's not being informed whatsoever, is that she's not being informed in the way she wants and in exactly the same way everyone else is. She believes she is entitled to be equal in all of those levels when the case is because you're in jail, okay? And when you're in jail, things work differently. You refuse to acknowledge that. And I get it, you still want your rights to be his mother. And that's what like family court is. In my opinion, family court is centered around making sure everyone can have their proper rights. It's not necessarily to punish or to coerce actions. It does do that, but the ultimate goal is the preservation of rights. She wants this to be marriage counseling and couples therapy so that the judge can mediate their relationship and make Brian do what she says. And that's not going to happen. To be able to make competent, important, and valued decisions in his life, I am going to learn how to fly over the hurdles in this case, my other case, and in my battle with cancer. And in my battle with cancer and any other health issue I'm dealing with. Fly. Fly. No. And any other health issue I'm dealing with. Fly. I'm not going to jump anymore. It's my right to be heard, seen, and respected as the person and mother I am. Now, just to be clear, I was not laughing at her because of a cancer diagnosis. I would never laugh at someone for contracting cancer. However, we know she doesn't have it now. So whatever she did have was benign. It was not a big deal to the point where she didn't bring it up the whole criminal trial. It doesn't matter. If this were real and she did have cancer and had it through the trial, she would have brought it up. It's not relevant, no, not at all, but she still would have brought it up to try to get sympathy, as she's doing right now, because this has nothing to do with anything. But because she's amping it up and amping up, she's telling you, I'm only doing all of this because I'm a mother. Also, I'm a mother with cancer. Also, I deserve to be able to make valued decisions in my child son Pawn's life. And I'm like, what decisions could you be trying to make right now? Oh, the decision for them to leave because they're trying to get away from your toxic influence and all the chaos that you bring with it. And you don't want that. You believe you should have the right to choose where he is allowed to stay. You. No. Sorry, you made your life choices. You chose for another person's life and they died, right? You made choices for them. You took choices away from another person and they are no longer with us because of that. So I'm going to go with the bet of not giving you the power to make decisions over your child's life. And I don't believe that for all cases, right? Even for cases of murder and for cases of terrible crimes, there could still be a bunch of reasons that make someone not a unqualified parent, but they are in the situation they are in and they have to deal with the consequences they brought on themselves. She is half of that, yes, but she's also just a terrible parent in general. Recorded track record of being just the worst. And that is confirmed by neighbors, confirmed by the school, confirmed by the property manager, and confirmed by Brian. And then it's just we've just reached a new level of theatrics of the hurdles. I'm going to have to fly. When I tell you I flatlined when I saw that, I swear she never ceases to surprise me with just these letters. I always think, oh, this is just going to be a complaint. Oh, and here's a life lesson she's trying to teach. Oh, and here's a metaphor that's not going to land. Oh, and now she needs to fly because the hurdles are so high. Her getting her mail a few days late is the hurdle so high she has to fly and soar over. And she said, I'm going to fly over the hurdles in this case. In my other case,
Find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree.
You didn't, you haven't, and you won't. I'm not going to jump anymore. Now, while that seems like a whatever, just an extension of the metaphor poorly trying to land the plane, it is very indicative of her actual plans. I'm going to fly over everything. I'm no longer going to jump through the hoops, i.e., I'm no longer going to do the things you tell me to do, which are in lines with the proper procedures and protocol. And I'm going to fly over these hurdles, meaning I am going to go directly to the source, judge. I don't care who I'm supposed to be talking to or who I should talk to before contacting you. I'm going to fly over all those hurdles and succeed and soar, because I'm going to make you see my heartfelt determination and make you see that I want to be a mother who's involved in my child's life, as long as that child can help me get my alimony. And the child itself can't, but I can use the child as a crutch in order to persuade further my necessity for alimony. And then, I'll say I love you at the end. But for right now, the son is the most important thing in order for her to get her money. Because to my understanding, she hasn't complained about Brian not allowing him to see her. I mean, actually, I'm sure she does complain about that, but she doesn't do that often, meaning she is in contact with her child, and he has not been completely barred from seeing her. To my understanding, he does not want to see her as much as she would like him to, and does not want to talk to him as much as she would like him to. But that's his choice, and he's allowed to make that. You're just mad because you're at a state that you will not be able to tell him what to do or have control over his life anymore. You didn't have control over it before, but you could have. You could have been an involved parent and tried to guide and raise him instead of using him for your own advantages. I'm sure you love him. I'm not going to deny that at all. I'm sure she 100% loves her child. I believe the way she shows it is self-serving and wrong. And if she knew how to express that love properly, she would know how to allow him to separate from her in hopes for the chance that he comes back to her willingly, rather than her forcing herself into every decision into his life, into every this and every that. Which is what she's saying she's going to do. She's going to say, you are trying to keep me out, I will force my way in. It is my right to be heard, seen, and respected as the person and mother I am. You have been seen, you have been heard, you were respected, and you were concluded to be a murderer.
Guilty of murder in the second degree.
You are the person and murderer and mother that you are. All of these things have been determined to be true. And with these determinations come different outcomes. And even at this time, of course, it had not been official yet, but your circumstances dictate how all of this runs. She is trying to fly over the hurdles she placed in front of herself. And I believe she thought that her criminal trial was just another hurdle, something she could talk her way out of, and just, if everyone knew what I needed them to know, then everything would be fine and we would have moved on by now, and you would have gotten over George's death, and you would have realized my life is the one that's actually valued and important, which is why I told you I was going to die 1,000,000 times when you first saw me. But that's a rant for another video. I've ranted on that 1,000,000 times. But all that to say, she has made it clear, abundantly clear time and time again, she thinks her life has more value than George's. She also thinks her life and her time has more value than Brian, and more value than her son, which is why they should treat her and respect her as the mother and person that she is. And ignore the whole murder. It is not right in any way for me to be ignored, bypassed, and automatically overruled because I am poor with no family or support system. I am not mute. I am not mentally, for fuck's sake, or impaired. You could have fooled me, because I am so over how many times she uses this slur casually in letters, as though nothing's wrong. That just shows how just stupid she really is. It's like, how do you completely unravel your entire argument instantly by using words like this and phrasing it like that? Because it's also really revealing. She's revealed, especially through those texts, that is still a video that's up and coming, so look out for that, about how racist she is in those texts to George's family. She's also ableist AF. She constantly uses and manipulates abilities and disabilities to her liking in order to either make herself look good or make herself look vulnerable. Either way, a way that she can exploit it. So when she wants sympathy, she wants you to know that she has every disability imaginable. She has cancer, she has glucose, diabetes issues, she has this, she has that.
I was made to cry over a cheeseburger when explaining to him the amount of weight I am continuously losing weekly due to being sick, and thought this would help me gain by eating. I was still told no. As far as I am aware, the dissolution of marriage agreement regarding alimony, which I did sign, is still and has been in effect. But also she wants you to know that at least she's not blank, at least she's not blank, at least she's not blank. As if she were any of those things, that would be a reason to bypass her. Just no. It just angers me to no end, because I've worked with people with disabilities for so long and so many different types of disabilities and capabilities that just seeing her casually just shit on people, really. Like, not only using outdated language, using it as an insult, boosting herself up, saying, don't look down on me the way I look down on those who have disabilities. Include me, include me. It just shows a zero self-awareness, which is reinforced by the, you all are bypassing me because I am poor with no family support system. No, they're bypassing you because you're in jail, okay? It's not because you're poor. It's not because you don't have family support system. That wouldn't change anything. You're only bringing that up, one, to get more sympathy, to say I have no one. Two, to try to guilt Brian into saying, look, I have no one. You're all I have. You have to be there for me, which I imagine she has done for a majority of their relationship. So people want to say that Brian enabled her and that he's created this, he's created that. Doubtful. I highly doubt that. I really do. It seems like that she's had her nails dug into him from the beginning and has been manipulating him from day one. I can't even imagine how many times she has used the fact that she doesn't have a lot of family against him to force him to take actions, which makes her using her son as a pawn even worse, because she's using him as a pawn, compounding that on how many times she has already told Brian that she has no one else.
I just didn't know what to do. It was just a quick knee-jerk reaction. Brian was kind of my go-to person because of my family being deceased, and I don't have anyone else that I can call.
And so she puts all that weight on him and uses their son as like that last little connector that connects all of it. And because Brian still has a family, that means you're disadvantaged in some way. Because that is a legitimate concern to bring up, not even to bring up, but just to have, of, I don't have a strong family support system. Okay, that's valid. But the way that you use that is in a manipulative, intentional way, where it's only ever brought up when you need something from it. I don't have family, so you need to do X for me. I don't have family, so you need to be everything for me. That's why I'm going to call you every single day, even though we're divorced and you've made it clear that you want to separate from me. I won't let you, and I will guilt you again and again and again. I have no one. I have no one. Why are you so mean? Why is the world against me? I am a loving, determined mother, friend, teacher, supporter. I am also an ex-wife. That ex-husband needs to conclude will always be in our son's life and his, and come to an acceptance of the situation. Ding, ding, ding. And this is why I will always call her Ms. Paulsen, unless I call her the artist formerly known as Ms.Boone Esq, or have to refer to her in any other legal documents or letters such as. Because of this, it is so manipulative and intentional. A lot of people are like, well, if they're divorced, why did she keep her last name? A lot of people keep their last names. A lot of times people keep their last names when they have kids, especially to keep that connection. And that's exactly why I wish it was broken. And that's exactly why I think he wishes it was broken, because she uses that to anchor herself to them no matter what. She doesn't have a lot of family, so now she's going to force herself into the Boone family. And it just feels like another way to remind, underscore, and to just implant this idea of you will never get away from me. I understand
on its face, it's not completely inaccurate, but in the context of how it's being delivered and what she means by it, it's incredibly abusive. She is saying, he needs to take my phone calls, he needs to give me money, he needs to do what I say, because he will always have to deal with me. That feels like a threat, and I don't like it whatsoever. Miss Paulsen, Miss Sarah Catherine Paulsen.
He's escaping! The killer is escaping! Help me!
Stop it. No. Leave that man alone, leave that family alone, and let that child come to you. If he wants to, he will. If he doesn't, he shouldn't have to.
No.
And Brian should just accept that an abuser is always going to be a part of his life. That's why he literally had to buy you out, because you probably just wouldn't leave no matter what. And she's mentioned multiple times, where's my active dissolution of marriage agreement, which I signed. She makes sure to bring that up because odds are they went through hell trying to get her to sign it. She probably had this stipulation, that stipulation, went back and forth until she finally agreed to sign something. And now she has a death grip over that dissolution of marriage, saying, I signed this thing that you made me sign because I didn't want to go. I was happy cheating on you under the roof that you paid for. But because you want me to leave, I need you to do everything else for me. And now that I signed this little paper for you, now you're trying to break it? No. Give me my money. So Ms. Paulsen is going to have to get her some 23andMe, get on some Ancestry DNA, find her other family members, and, reach out to them. Say, hi, my beloved. I need some commissary. So how about I could write you a nice letter. I promise I won't yell the first time. And I get it. It's rough. I have empathy for that. Not having a strong familial or any kind of support system is rough. And it makes you put more strain on the few individuals you do have. However, if you choose to strain those relationships further, you can't be upset when they want to leave as well. You're not entitled for them to be there. And also, you do have two brothers. How about you try to reconnect with them? Get them to send you a Valentine's Day card, which nonetheless is temporary. Here, there, wherever. Now, then, future. Former husband is going to have to respectfully deal with me one way or another. We have a child together. The sooner he comes to terms with all of this as I have, the sooner the beginning of his hard sought after relief can start. The nerve she had before this trial is truly just shocking. This is temporary.
Guilty of murder in the second degree.
I don't think it's going to be that temporary anymore. I think you're going to have to start making some really long distance type of decisions. And this is a continuation of what I just said. We have a son together. You will have to just accept it like I have. Of course, you've accepted it. You've just admitted you've had no one else. Of course, you're going to accept it. And you're going to force him to accept it as well. You are going to come to find out people actually do not have to be there. You were a very deadbeat parent, right? You were not a good parent. You chose when you wanted to be in your child's life when you didn't. So why on earth would you think they don't have that same option to choose whether they want you in their lives or not? And of course, relief is in quotes to kind of devalue it. And just so you all know, anytime she puts something in quotes, she is slighting it. She is trying to devalue it. Quote unquote, husband. The reason why she quotes husband every single time is to devalue the label. Meaning, yes, Brian C. Boone, this man who was allegedly supposed to be my husband through thick and thin, whatever that means, whatever title of husband means, that's who he used to be. I am ex-wife. I feel like this is the first time she's actually called him ex-husband instead of former husband. And she's done that when she talked about George's so-called dad and all of these other times. She's just trying to devalue whoever she is she's quoting. Same thing, relief. Oh, God forbid he's trying to seek some relief from his crazy ex-murdering girlfriend, wife, mother of his child, baby mama. But you have to devalue that by putting it in quotes. Like, how dare he ask for that? And it's just another threat. You will finally get what you want when you finally give me what I want. If you want me to stop torturing you, pay up. He and whomever else also needs to remember crystal balls are a novelty. I am doing everything in every way to stay afloat and still be a part of everything involving my son's life and mine. In the meantime, I have been providing relief to former husband in numerous ways on a daily basis.
Ew.
Little nasty.
Ew, gross. I don't like the implication of that. Are you trying to say y'all been getting freaky on the jailhouse phone? No. The recorded phone calls? No. Mr. Boone, I'm gonna need you to love yourself more. One, I don't believe it whatsoever, but if it is true even a little bit, love yourself. You deserve better, okay? Look in the mirror, apologize to yourself, and then, I don't know, get on Bumble or something. But that's gross, because that's what she's insinuating. But what does that even mean? Why are you telling a judge this? What kind of relief could you possibly be offering that isn't a double entendre to Brian? Nothing. On a daily basis, the only relief you could provide him is not calling him, leaving him alone. The fact that you are saying that you provide relief to him daily means you are in contact with him daily. You are trying to hound and be in contact with him daily. Your former husband. You are an ex-wife. You've made it clear that you understand these roles and how they have changed and differed. However, you still hold that expectation that he's supposed to communicate with you like you're married. And just repeats it so that she can mock the idea of relief again. Being like, you think you need relief from me? How dare you even say that? How dare you not work twice as hard to give me all of your money? I don't even know what Brian does. I'm hoping it's something that's lucrative to be able to handle all of these mouths he has to feed. I know it's just him and his son, but he's also now somewhat paying for her and having to deal with this whole mess. Upending his life, everything it takes and costs to travel and bring more security and comfort to your household. Yeah, and she wants all of that money so that she can be a little more comfortable in the prison cell that she's put herself in. Nothing was as difficult or tumultuous until he decided to devise his scheming, manipulative plans and agreements. No one would know this because no one is giving me a chance to be part of anything. Although the playing field is completely uneven and the odds are stacked so high against me, I can't see the top, and I have nothing. I'm going to fly. With that said, and unfortunately at the last minute, now that you have received and read this with only a couple of days remaining before the conference, I want and am entitled to be in attendance, however necessary, so I am rightfully updated, present, and most importantly, included for preparation of the upcoming hurdles futuristically. Is anyone ever going to tell her that futuristically isn't a word? At least not in the way that she thinks it is. Like, futuristically means future-like, as though it could be something that came from the future, like an aesthetic. Like, those Tesla cars are designed futuristically to mimic life after an apocalypse. Okay? Like, I'm describing the style in which the thing is constructed or that it's giving, not something literally in the future, from the time in the future. I don't know. She's, it's like, how can you just claim to be so superior to people and then just make yourself look stupid all the time? But whatever. And she says everything was going fine until he decided to devise his malicious agreements and schemings. You mean everything was going your way until he decided to stand up for himself? And now you're calling that abuse?
him trying to find literal relief. The fact that he has to call getting away from you relief is very telling. And I know he's using just the official term in terms of how you would phrase reducing or eliminating alimony, trying to find relief, but I also think it is the appropriate word in general for this situation. And I imagine it is a word that he repeats to her and not just in a legal sense or a legal document. Of course, you are doing everything in every way to stay afloat, except be respectful of people's boundaries, except respect your lawyers, except respect your guards, except respect your judges, except go through proper protocols, except treat anyone with respect. You haven't tried those things. I think doing those things would keep you afloat way better than these manifesto letters. Like MLK writing your letters from jail. Instead of letters from Birmingham, this is letters from Orange County Jail. She thinks she's doing something with these. She really does. And, I mean, she is doing something. She is just very much painting the type of person she is in the mind of the judge. I just don't see how any rational person could think speaking this way to a judge is actually going to get what you want. Especially when decisions are being made subjectively. Well, not just subjectively, but your actions do have subjective influence on how they're going to rule. She's used to being able to manipulate legal systems to her ways by reading by the book, right? If I call the police and I tell them that I have this injury, they are going to arrest him because that's what's supposed to happen. And she's used to going back and forth and arguing with people to get them to believe these narratives that are impossible to believe. And she's won because she's had some evidence to show. Here, she has no evidence of anything because she's not actually being abused in the way that she is saying she is. So she has to inflate everything, inflate the language, inflate the necessity, the desperation, the rhetorical violence that she is willing to perpetuate and commit in order to maintain the control she thought she had or to regain it. And yes, you do have a right to be there. I need her to show me that anyone told her she couldn't be there, because I don't think anyone pushed against her on that. I'm like, did you ask? Did you ask a single solitary soul, hi, can I be in attendance to this? And they told you no? And they told you no to the point where you have to ask the judge for permission? Or are you going to the judge because you want them to make sure that you are there? You want the judge to call the jail and say, we need her here. Make sure that she's here. Instead of her actually having to do anything in the proper way. But I know, I get it, I'm rambling. The point is made. But no matter what, she is going to fly. Yeah, she's going to fly her ass right into that prison cell. What needs to be done so I can be there Monday, September 19th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m., courtroom 9B, Orange County Courthouse, 425 North Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32801 for the 30-minute allotted time given? Transport order? Video setup? Telephonic appearance must be court-ordered per instructions on the copy of order setting the hearing. How? It is not right if I am unable to attend this due to last-minute attempted arrangements being made for me to do so. And I know I was being a little dramatic there, but it's too condescending not to, right? Like... She has to list out the entire address as though you don't know where you're from and you don't know when the conference that you scheduled is scheduled to be. But I need to list it all out, you see, because you're a dumbass, right? And so because everything is being handled so incorrectly, I need you to make sure, that you understand exactly what we're talking about, Mr. Judge. It's just the never-ending contradictions of the devaluing, you're unethical, this seems unlawful, this, and this, that, and then the thank you for listening to me. Please understand my heartfelt desire, you fucking idiot. That's how all of these read. And that's how she talks too. That is a miserable existence to walk on eggshells every single day around someone like that. And you're going to make this big hubbubaloo to get everything scheduled to say, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do that? How did you get to any other ones? This is not your first case management conference. This is not the first time they have had to transport you somewhere. Meaning there are many people who you could ask these questions to and could probably get answers way quicker. You're not going to get an answer from the judge because that's not how this works. It's how you think it should work. It's just not how it works. And from an educational perspective, there is nothing a teacher hates more than hearing a question that could have been answered if they looked it up. And this is one of those situations. Could you have looked this up and gotten these answers? Yes. It'd be one thing if you said, I asked people and they refused to give me any information and said that I am not allowed to be there. If those people did not say that, why are you this aggressive towards the judge? Why are you this condescending? And the true reason is you just want people to feel bad because you feel bad. If you feel left out, if you feel insulted, you need to make sure everyone else feels insulted. And they can't feel left out, and that, I know, drives you wild. That there's nothing you can do that has control over them whatsoever. So that's why you use your words to assault them, belittle, berate, undermine, etc., etc. Would I have received the information when everyone else did 2 weeks ago? Timely plans could have been made and scheduled just as the order was on August 22nd, 2022. Today, September 9th, 2022, and finally, for whatever reason, I am just now aware is scheduled. Please instruct me what I may need to do so I can cooperate and greatly increase my opportunity to be there. How can I validate and educate when no one listens, cares, or is in front of me? I don't need you to validate or educate anyone about anything. But that's what she thinks she's there to do. She's there to educate people because obviously they're all dumbasses or else they would be doing what I say. So I need to validate whether you're correct by giving me the money I'm asking or educate you as to why you should be giving me the money that I'm asking. If I had had this 2 weeks ago, I could have made this and that. I don't know how long it takes for y'all to schedule stuff. I don't think it takes more than 5 days, which still the math doesn't make sense here too, because I'm pretty sure like the meeting was on the 19th and you were saying you were receiving this on the 9th, but then you also in here says that that leaves you with only 5 days to schedule anything. I mean, the math isn't mathing on that one. And if you did get it on the 9th, 10 days is definitely enough time to get this scheduled and make the necessary arrangements. But the true issue is that everyone else got it before you. It's the same reason that she was freaking out with Chelsea and Scott texting during the interrogation, which, just so it's clear, they were on their cell phones very intentionally. They were on their cell phones because she kept asking for hers. So it was a way to rile her up by showing that they have access to theirs and she doesn't have access to hers. And so she sees them texting and is like, is that texting thing about me? Is that something about me? You all are scaring me. Because she feels entitled to know everything everyone else does. And if she is not being told, then that's an issue. And she will do whatever she needs to do to get involved in that. Same thing with George talking to his brother on the phone. She gave him 4 minutes. They were laughing, they were having a good time before she cut in because she needed to know what they were talking about. Why is he laughing? Oh, this is a good conversation? Well, tell him how you choked me. Tell him how you pulled me down this, and now I'm going to start yelling until you have to get off the phone. Her need to control communications and information is very evident and clear, and based off of her pattern, it's to be able to formulate how she can wiggle her way out of a situation or manipulate it for her own gain. Can she use text messages against people? Can she use phone calls against people? Can she use letters against people? She needs ammunition, and that's why she's mad she got it after others did. I thank you as always for your invaluable time, consideration, and much needed overdue assistance Who else is there? Honorable Dean. I am also still waiting for your response from my most recent letter sent to you on August 17th, 2022, regarding another order, dispensing mediation, I never received and was only made aware was generated by my 11-year-old son reading to me due to being sent to his address. Please provide an update for that as well.
And the requests just never end. And that last part is in reference to the video that we did last about that disaster of a quote-unquote legal motion she sent to the judge about the dispensing of the case management conference, because they asked her to schedule dates and they canceled it because she would not provide any dates and was being uncooperative, as we have covered earlier in this video. And she's mad she didn't get a response to that. Like we told her she wouldn't, like she hasn't with any of these other letters. But she's going to slide that in there. So on top of everything else I've requested from you in this letter, on top of all of the documentation that you may or may not have that may or may not exist, I want you to also respond to my incoherent ramblings that I've decided to call a legal motion. So you can just tack that on here as well. Everything is a demand, nothing is a suggestion or a question or a true inquiry. It is a, do this for me. I'm telling you to jump, you need to say how high.
Also, on the order for the conference I am graciously requesting to be included and a part of, on page 2 of 2, where all parties were sent a true and correct copy, my address is incorrect. Please change so no other penalty, mistake, or reasons are made to be used against me in whatever way it seems everyone, especially former husband, is hoping will be my demise. Again, thank you, Judge Dean. I look forward to meeting you. Sincerely, Sarah Boone, Sarah Boone.
So that always has me floored too. Like, have you never met this man before? Is this how you're talking before you've even been formally introduced? She did the same thing with Kranick. Her first letter to him was like, wow, thanks for a new judge. Here's why you're a piece of shit.
Honorable Judge Kranick, finally a new judge. It's strange how the Lord works, as I was in the process of trying to disqualify Wooten after being my judge 4 years and me still incarcerated with nothing to show, other than 7 different attorneys, not by my choice. I await your overdue and very needed judicial direction, supervision, and intervention. Thank you in advance, Judge Kranick. Welcome. Sincerely, Sarah Boone.
And she sees nothing wrong with that behavior, that she's completely justified in doing this. And then finally asking for your address to be changed. That is a valid and okay request that you tacked on at the end of a diss track letter, basically. If you came out the gate with this being like, this was delivered to the wrong address, can we correct this? Because of these incorrect addresses, I keep receiving things late. These are providing more hurdles for me. How can I be involved and be understood or be informed in a more timely manner? There's just a million ways to bring up these grievances in ways that don't make you sound like a complete jackass. And then any kind of thing like that, she takes as a personal attack. This is a penalty. I hope this doesn't get penalized against me. And we heard earlier, am I being penalized because they don't understand why I went through 8,000 lawyers? Everything is a penalty. Nothing is a natural consequence or just an inconvenience. It is, everything is intentional to penalize against her, but nothing she does is intentional, unless it's good, and then, of course. And these penalties are being used against her by everyone and former husband because everyone hopes that this will be her demise. You're damn right about that. We do hope that your actions are your own demise.
Guilty of murder in the second degree.
And we were right. Look at us. So yeah, that was another Sarah Paulsen letter. I don't have a ton to say to wrap this one up. It pretty much it is what it is. We have more letters to work through. I will put a quick pause on the letters and I will circle back and get back to the criminal case content that I was previously working on and now just need to go wrap up and get that out as well. Work is picking up and getting a little hectic, so thank you all for your patience, and I still appreciate all the engagement, all the support, all the love. I can't believe it. Like, we have passed 8,000 subscribers in 4 months. Thank you all so much. I never wanted to put it out there, like the idea of getting to 10,000 before the end of the year is not it's not outrageous. It's not unheard of. So, you know, that'd be kind of cool, you know? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll have to do something special for that milestone if we reach it. But we can only reach that goal if you guys like my content. So, you know, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you're feeling it. Until next time.